I'm Draco Self-Important, and you should listen to me. Today, you're gonna listen to me talk about my ex-wife. Um, now, disclaimer, huge disclaimer. Picture blinking lights, boop, boop, boop. Disclaimer, right? Um, we are on reasonable terms. We co-parent well. Our past relationship has absolutely nothing to do with our relationship right now, and I that's not what this is about. What this is about is just me telling my story because I'm telling my story, and in going through my weird spiritual journey shit, some shit came up that made me go, ooh, maybe we should just do the ex-wife story now, because that's on the brain. So, because a lot of the religious shit that I talked about happened with her because we joined the Satanic Temple together. Because I made her, basically. I dragged her along, and then when I got sued, she was like, Jesus fucking Christ, you dragged me into this shit, and now they're suing you. Oh my god, what the fuck? I'm like, sorry, babe. Um, yeah. Shit had already started going downhill before that, but really, nail in the coffin there. Um, you know, I digress. So, to be clear, this is like, take it like my behavior is not great either. So just because I'm about to talk some shit is what I'm saying to you. Now, mind you, I told her months ago that I was intending to do this, but because I'm a lazy motherfucker, it took me forever to get my shit together to actually start like recording on a regular basis. I say lazy. That's oh god. Hi, I have all kinds of executive dysfunction from probably multiple different mental health disorders that make it difficult for me to do anything, let alone extra things. So, like, the fact that I've been able to, like, crank out any. Dude, I'm trying real hard to get back to being a person. Let's just all encourage me, okay? But, while I'm on a roll, let's tell the story. It's 2011. I got a job because I was getting my second divorce. It came to my attention that my second husband had been lying to me for weeks about some shit that was really important. That I can't. I don't think I've told that story yet. I might have. I don't remember. Whatever. It's a story for a different day. Um. So I apply at a place that I've worked before, knowing full well that they hire pretty much anyone with a pulse. And despite the fact that when I had worked there previously, I quit without notice, I'd gotten married in the interim. And so when they sent out my name, it was not the name that I like went by. And it was a whole, yeah. So the people who could have been like, yeah, he worked here before, you shouldn't hire him again, um, didn't notice, basically. And so I got rehired. And I worked there again for damn near a decade. About 3 years in, I told them that they shouldn't have rehired me, and we all got a good laugh out of it. I'm like, yeah, technically I wasn't rehirable, but I'm a supervisor now. So, haha, like, joke's on you. I'm really good at this. uh, but in I was in this they called it the career development program. Really what it was the we're going to take advantage of you because you want to get promoted program, where they took you off the phones to make you like answer questions and shit like the supervisors would, except that they didn't give you supervisor pay or any of the other benefits that came along with being a supervisor. And because you were off the phone, you couldn't get your rates up, and so your like hourly rate sucked. So basically you were volunteering to make minimum wage because it was activity based compensation. ABC pay is what they called it at the time, in order to try to get promoted, because it was supposed to be you like showing your loyalty to the company. My god, every single bit of corporate culture that place had, whether it be LiveBridge, ACS, Xerox, Conduent, Continuum, I do not care what they fucking called it. Every single bit of corporate culture that place had was a goddamn nightmare from top to bottom. None of it was healthy. It was all brainwashy bullshit. It was all, we're a family, to make you not realize that you're being taken advantage of. Bullshit. Like, if your employer is pushing real hard that you're a family, run. You're not a family. It's capitalism. Fucking run. They're taking advantage of you. Anyway, you can have friends at work. You can have relationships at work. To be clear, that's not what I'm saying. But if your bosses are telling you that you're a family, that's a problem. If you're being told that you're a family from the top down, that's manipulation. Yeah, no, if you, like, as co-workers, like, form a bond, like, that's different, you know? Like, I've had work wives, I've had work moms, I've had work husbands. I don't think, have I had work dads? I did. Yep, Jake was definitely my work dad, which was weird. It was weird because, man, did he say some inappropriate shit at times. Like, that entire place as well was just filled with people who had no sense of fucking boundaries or professionalism, because, like, the foundation of the employee base was people straight out of high school who then got promoted at like 18 and 19 with, like, no, like, oh my god, it was like high school on steroids. It was some of the worst shit. Like, I digress. So, we're in this career development program. At this point, I do not know her name. Now, mind you, this is pre-transition for both of us. So I'm a lady, she's a dude. Yeah. The thing that's funny is no one knew her fucking name. Her nickname was the horse with no name. Like, you know that song, been to the desert on a horse with no name. Like that was the joke, because know what, like, people would talk to her, she would help people, just like in contact with a bajillion people all day, and you'd be like, but that's, I don't, no fucking clue what that person's name is. So I remember at one point, you know, like, eventually we both got promoted. Because there was like a round of supervisors that got promoted. Ironically, after they dissolved the career development program. Yeah, I remember one day they brought us all into a meeting to tell us that it wasn't a thing anymore, and most of us left early that day. And I remember I went out with my BFF, and we drank at his place and then went out to a bar. And the thing about that really, like, one of the dudes we were drinking with is now in prison for killing someone via DUI. So, haha, that's probably, yeah. That's a story that makes me feel weird, but that's not a story that I'm probably going to tell, because that was like, although it makes me feel weird, I was not close enough with that dude for it to, like, really, like, it doesn't, it's not like my murder story, you know? It doesn't still, like, ruin my life to this day. But we get promoted, and we're like, the way that it was a call center, and the way that it's set up is like the supervisor was at the head of the row of a dozen people, and she was like 2 people down from me. And we were, like, you know, like, running, because you help each other throughout the day, and so we're talking to each other. And I remember at one point I was like, I'm sorry, like, we've worked together for so long, I have no idea what your name is. And then she tells me, and I had been mispronouncing, like, because I'd seen the name on paper, because, like, we all saw our names when, you know, but, like, I had not connected it to the person. And I was like, holy shit, I've been mispronouncing your last name this entire fucking time. Irish people don't pronounce H's. Just so we're clear. And then when that later became my last name, I became militant about making people pronounce it correctly. It was obnoxious. Um, yeah, Irish people don't pronounce H's. So, um, at this point, we're both married to other people. Her marriage is apparently dissolving. My second husband is in the process of just lying his fucking face off about incredibly important things to me at the time, and he knew it, and it was gross. And yeah, he might as well have just fucked somebody else. Like, it would have been the same. It would have been the same effect. Probably would have been less hurtful, honestly. Um, but there was a point at which, like, because I left the second husband and then tried to get back together with him. Um, and, like, I realized that the shit was just not, like, because I didn't trust him anymore, I wasn't attracted to him anymore, essentially. And so, like, I tried to be like, maybe we can be poly, because I didn't want to fuck him anymore, but I thought we should stay together for the kids. And he was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then, ironically, he did poly shit later. And I'm like, you dumbass. Because, like, he got so mad when he found out I was with someone else. Oh, God. He literally is like, you let yourself fall in love with someone else. And it's like, yeah, because I wasn't in love with you anymore, because you lied to my face. And our kids were involved, like, also love that when he got remarried after that, he told a totally different version of the story. And then when I told his now ex-wife what happened, like, they were already getting divorced. I didn't like, this wasn't, but she was like, wow, yeah, no, that makes way more sense than what he said. I'm like, yeah, I wondered what he was telling people, and what he was telling people didn't make any fucking sense. Um, so at one point, like, we kept going out on, like, smoke breaks together and, like, chatting and taking, because, like, yeah. And I remember at one point we were, like, leaving, and I asked for a hug, and I'm real big into a hug. I would rather, like, they're, like, friend hugs and they're family hugs and they're, but, like, if you, like, full body embrace with someone, like, not the, like, but, like, you know, like, I do not remember the first time we kissed. I remember the first time we hugged. You know what like, that, literally, like, I don't, and it's funny because she would make fun of me for that, because but there was one day we were like, we'd finished the shift, walked out to, like, walk out to the parking lot to leave, and I'm like, hey, can I get a hug? And we hugged, and I was like, and so I was like, okay, I know, and so, like, at this point, she had moved into the pool house. I know that makes it sound like she was wealthy. Her mother-in-law owned a house, and she and her, at the time, wife and her kids lived in the 3-bedroom apartment above the garage of the mother's house, and there was a pool house. I don't know what the fuck whatever. So that marriage was toast. And so I, being the I'm gonna shop for a replacement guy that I was at the time, I guess, I don't know. I was terrified of being alone, kind of, and like, it's like with the first husband where I, like, engineered the cheating because I knew he wouldn't want me back. I think it was kind of like that, but also kind of like I didn't want to then be. I don't know. I don't know. Like, or this is all just me justifying that I, like, legitimately fell in love with someone and whatever. Um, it's funny because it's like, this story I tell is the only time I ever fell in love with a woman. It was an accident because I didn't know she was a woman, but she didn't know I was a man. So, like, that's not an unfair. Like, it was, neither of us knew, man. I didn't know neither. Whatever. Um, but, like, I asked her to like go out with me when I went out with friends. Um, and like I remember at one point I like was basically offering myself up, and she was like, "Make something permanent happen, and we'll talk. I'm not gonna be involved in cheating." I'm like, "All right, like that's legit. I can't be mad at that." Um, and so it's like I thought about it, and yeah. So basically, what happened was, I dragged the second husband out of the house because his father was staying there at that point, and I didn't want to have the conversation within earshot of the kids. And it was convenient because his dad was there to watch the kids, and I dragged him out after they were asleep anyway. Um, and like we had a conversation, and I was like, man, I don't know, like this all feels really gross, and you lied and blah blah blah, and I like tried, and I just am not, and he's like, do you want to be married to me? And I just shook my head no, and he took off his wedding ring, threw it in my beer, and stormed out. As he was storming out, I pulled my paycheck out of the joint bank account so that I would have some money to live on before he could do that. I didn't take anything else. I literally just took my paycheck out. He had plenty of money to pay the bills without my money. I did not work until I started working as an escape the first time, and I continued to work when I tried to go back. So my money was all play money anyway, and I knew that if I gave him the opportunity, he would drain it all, and I would have nothing and no way to escape. So I pulled my paycheck out into my solo account, and I started calling and texting my ex-wife and was like, "Oh my god, like can I come stay in the pool house?" Cuz otherwise I was going to end up staying with a friend of both of us who I slept with once prior to my flirtations with the ex-wife, because I like met him in a bar, and like he took, yeah, it was not good. Like I don't want to be like he wasn't good. Like the chemistry was not there once we actually. Honestly, I think it's just he was not willing to put in the amount of effort that I need, because I am very enthusiastic and very like, let's go, like and if you're not, I'm like, if you're not going to bring the amount of energy that I'm bringing, I'm not here for it, because I bring a party, man. Uh, that's so egotistical, but whatever. Ain't none of you gonna sleep with me, so I don't gotta prove it. So it's the one thing that I have always said. I don't know whether or not I'm good, but I am enthusiastic. That I will guarantee is enthusiasm. Um, but so I'm like, okay, please don't make me go stay with this other, because he's gonna let me stay there, and then he's gonna be weird about it, and it's gonna, um, and so I end up like going to Denny's just to fucking like not have to be anywhere else, basically. And so then she calls me and she's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Denny's." And she's actually may have been a different, maybe Sherry's. I don't know, whatever, some fucking Olympia night diner shit. Um, and she shows up and we eat mozzarella sticks together, and I'm like, I don't know, like what? And so then we essentially sneak back into the pool house, because remember, this property is owned by her at the time mother-in-law, who I'm sure would not have been very excited about having guests. But on the other hand, she was paying rent for the pool house. So, like, at the point that you're paying rent, it's like, if I'm not waking you up, shut the fuck up. I'm an adult. So, that was kind of my stance and why I went. Because, again, I don't do shit unless I'm gonna stand up. Um, and so we go there, and we bang, and it was delightful and apparently good enough that I wanted to go back. So, like, okay, just to describe to you how tiny this person is, I was like, I don't know, 170 pounds at the time, maybe 180 on the outs. She fell asleep on top of me like a human blanket, and I could still breathe just fine. Like her, like just full, like all weight across me, and I was just like, ah, like it. It was like she was a human autism blanket, man. Like it was. I sleep with a weighted blanket all the time. By the way, it's so great. Um, Greatest invention in the world was putting tiny glass beads in a blanket. I don't know why we didn't figure it out sooner. Anyway, yeah. So then we start like talking about like moving in together, and we start apartment hunting, and we start like it's a whole thing. And so then we get an apartment together like right away. Initially, when I told the second husband that I would be moving in with someone because I couldn't afford the rent by myself, I told him even who it was. I did not tell him I was dating and or sleeping with her at the time. And so when he put two and two together, he was like, "Oh, you cheated," and I was like, "No," and it was like, "Well, because she wouldn't have." Um, and just to put it out there, I didn't cheat with her, but in the interim of my moving back in and leaving, once I had figured out I was fucking over it, I still had the lease on my apartment from when I had moved out. And there would be times that I'd be like, I'm too tired to drive home. And I would go out and pick someone up and fuck them. I've not always been the best person. I've tried to improve myself. Like, I don't know, man. Um, you know. Yeah. Just, I don't see, like, this is the thing. Like, I can't, hence the disclaimer of, like, can we not? Because, like, yeah, I'm a talk shit, but I'm also take my own licks, as it were. Um, so then we move in together. And you got to keep in mind, this is a person that I've known for like, I don't know, the better part of a year. Yeah, like 11 months, because I'd started working there again in January and we moved in together in November. Now, when I say that I knew them, we did not work the same shift most of the time. We had like meetings together like a couple of times a week, maybe. Like, so, like, I try to be like, oh no, I know. I did not know this person. I was trying to justify figuring shit out to get out of the situation that I was in the best way that I could. Um, so we move in together with my kids. I've that is a whole fucking nightmare of the custody battle and the daycare situation and my mother just making all of that worse. God, putting me at a disadvantage. Oh my God, so many years, just fucked up so much shit. Just didn't care. Like, just didn't care. Didn't just. Wow. Um, Brief aside. I'm real big on accountability because all humans make mistakes, and you can only do the best that you can with the information that you have at the time. And especially if you come from a situation where you are not provided with a lot of information with which to make good decisions, and you have to like go out into the world and learn those things on your own. And sometimes it takes a long time, and like fully. However, if you cannot and do not own up to the mistakes that you have made, regardless of why you may have made them, you cannot change your behavior and you cannot improve, and you are not any better than you were before. Like, you can't be like, I'm a better person than I was before without taking accountability for the things that you've done. You just can't. Because then what's to say you're not going to do some other hinky shit and just not tell anyone and hope no one finds out and deny it if they do? And, like, how does that make you trustworthy? You know? It's like everybody makes mistakes, but, like, I'm way more likely to trust someone who owns up to their mistakes than someone who is like, no, never, what? Not a reference to the ex-wife, by the way. Maybe another ex who's not accountable for any of his actions. Won't deny them, but not accountable. Anyway, so the relationship starts out super, like, love bomby ridiculous. I know I'm guilty of this shit because I, like, it's a thing that I recognize that I do because I try to, like, make sure people don't leave. And so I'm like, oh God, let me just do it. I love you. Which, to be fair, as someone who, like, the only time my mother ever told me she loved me was in times of great tragedy. Like, I could count on one hand the amount of times as an adult my mother told me she loved me. I tell my kids I love them like 47 times a day. Like, if they leave the room, I'm like, okay, love you, bye. Like, that's a thing that I really, really, really don't want to be in question for them. Like, I tell my partner I love him constantly. I told my brother I loved him all the time. Random friends, I say I love you, bye. Like, I want people to know that they're loved because I spent my entire life not knowing because I don't think I actually was. Because I don't think that woman knew how to love. Yeah. She literally described herself as like Dexter and not knowing how to feel. And I empathize with her and told her that I, like, had to learn how to empathize because I did, like, genuinely. I like the sense of empathy that I have, and at this point it's like I think I may have gone too far because sometimes I like feel other people's pain to the point that it hurts in a way that's, like, not reasonable and shouldn't be mine. And, like, it's the shit that makes people go, I think I'm an empath. No, dude, you're just taking other people's shit too seriously, or you're taking on shit that shouldn't be yours. That's not I'm an empath. That's I'm an idiot who doesn't have boundaries. And I say that as an idiot who doesn't have boundaries. I mean, to be fair, like, if I'm taking on the pain of someone who is a close loved one, like, yes, but, like, that's not like I'm an empath. That's like I'm a human being with feelings. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to feel empathy. I just am a person who all of my emotions manifest physically. It's either me moving or doing shit, or it's pain, or it's euphoria. Like, everything. Like, if I'm experiencing immense amounts of joy, like, I feel that as like a ha ha ha, just as much as, like, if shit is bad, it literally physically hurts me. And yes, like, me experiencing empathy for other people, yes, that can happen, but, like, it's not like if I sit in the room with a stranger that I'm not talking to or know anything about, I can just, like, pick up on their emotions and I'm suddenly in pain. Like, no, I'm just like a person. But I think that when you're the sort of person that empathy can manifest in physical pain, that it makes you feel like it's a superpower or something. And no, dude, like, that, I bet your emotions do that too. Like, I don't know, like, it's not. Sorry. Anytime my mother is going to cause me to go off on tangents anytime she comes up in conversation because I'm still pissed off. Like, I'm pissed off because she can't ever fix it now. And I'm just stuck. And it's like, I don't, not that I even wanted her to. Like, I don't even think that's it, man. I think it's the fact that I tried to fix it so many times because I never tried to fix it with my dad. I cut that motherfucker off at 16 and was like, mwah, goodbye. And that was the end of that. But I didn't do that with my mother. I tried and tried and tried, and it bit me in the ass. And it made me realize in the long run that I should have just cut her off to begin with. And I think that what that's teaching me is when people give me the run. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter where they came from. It doesn't, like, I need to trust my own fucking senses and the way that people treat me and the things that they do, not just what they say. Because people can be honest, but, actions speak louder than words. And yeah, yeah. So, we're gonna call this part one. I may actually try to edit this together, like into a all one video. So if so, yay! You'll see this and you won't have to push another button. If not, I'm sorry. I don't know. I have another video to publish tomorrow before this, so if I can get my stupid app to work properly, I can jam it all together. If not, maybe I can find the rest of my laptop cable tomorrow. Oh god, it's still a quest. I have so many black cords, y'all. You don't understand. I have so many black cords, and they all look the same. And I can't find the right one. Anyway, I love you. Be safe. Make good choices. I'll be back in a minute.